Okay, so we start now. So today we will cover the Q&A session for the intermediate break. Okay, so same, any question you guys want to ask, you can ask. So intermediate break, first product will be Baguette Biga. So may I know any question for this one when you guys doing? If you're facing anything, you can ask now. Any questions? Okay, my break was not airy at all. What kind of bread you're making is not airy, and what airy you mean? I mean, you got very loose when you do the shaping, or during the proving, or any stage. So Ali, you can answer your question again, yeah. Okay. Then sharp the ovens. Right. Okay. If your oven don't have steam, how you create? They have few options. Okay, one is you spray one round of water before you put in the bread. I mean, this situation is you preheat the oven already. Okay, then once your oven is preheat done, open the door. Okay, then you spray one round of the water around. I mean, every side of the oven, and close back. Okay, and close back. After 5 to 10 seconds, I can say that. After that, you just load your bread inside and you spray one more round of water again. So this is the first option. Second option, which is a lot of people doing it in home, using home oven, is they put a pot of hot water for the first baking. Let's say, example, the first baking is like 12 minutes. Okay, then you can actually put the water, the pot of hot water inside there for 12 minutes. After that, the second baking, you can actually remove the pot of water, then continue to bake until it cook. Okay, this is the two options that people usually do when they go for home baking. Okay. Okay, next one. Approved in the fridge. Okay. First of all, I usually don't recommend you to do proving overnight because in upcountry online, all the breads is actually can prove in between one day. Okay, example, intermediate, because we have Biga, so for sure you need 2 days because Biga need to make one day before. So I believe if you mention this one is one thing, moisture a lot. Your bread is already absorb a lot of moisture from the chiller. Second, sometimes it's overproof. During winter, when the temperature is below 20 degrees or between 7. Okay, this is a very, very good questions, which is how you prove your bread during winter time. Uh, first, which is I can say a very simple one is you need to find a place that is slightly warm for you. But I believe at home usually is difficult. So you can do one thing, prove inside the oven, which is already off. Okay, which means that you do the bread. When you go for final proving, your bread put inside the oven, or maybe a sealed place to prove the bread, then it can be done. Okay, because I believe when your oven is off overnight, and or maybe you use it early morning, but in afternoon time you already on off, and the temperature is, I believe, is roughly at 21, 22. It still can be proved, but it takes slightly longer duration to prove. Okay. Christy, I hope I answer your question. For winter time is, I can say, not so difficult. You just need to find a warm place for them to prove. But you need to take care because sometimes even though you feel it's warm, but the actual temperature is cold. So you really need to take care during winter time. Except we have a prover, then you can set a temperature. Let the prover temperature maintain at certain temperature, 24, 26. Then you can actually load your bread inside and it will be very, very nice. This is usually all those bakery shop, especially when they have 4 season, they will do it. Okay, next question. Anyone? No question for Baguette Biga. So just recap for Baguette Biga, right? It just have one more steps you need to do, which is Biga. Okay, so you need to do the Biga first and leave overnight, then you can do it. The entire procedure is exactly same like Baguette. Okay, I mean like a basic one. Okay. Just during summer, you can proof inside the AC room and temperature. Yes, if you want, you can actually proof between 26 to 23 to 26. Let it slightly warmer. So the proving will be in the correct schedule. But usually summer, you can say, if you just prove in the normal room temperature, right, it will be very, very risky because it will be very warm for the dough to cook. Okay, so next one. No question. Okay, Challah. Okay, not Challah. Okay, it pronounced as Challah. So, okay, got one question. Why did we use malt flour in the bucket? Okay, actually, malt flour is it's an ingredient which is we use a very, very small amount. You can see from the recipe, it's a very, very small amount. That amount actually just enough for the dough to prove in a, I can say, in a very good result or a very good fermentation for the dough.
After G, baby.
Okay, and so continue back with the malt flour. Okay, so we use a very small amount. Okay, actually it's just to increase the proving. Okay, and also let the yeast activate in a very, very good activation. I can say that. Okay, so that is the reason why we use malt. Can we avoid? Yeah, you can. Okay, but just maybe the proving and also the flavor side is not so good as you have the malt flour, but you can avoid. Okay, but you can avoid. Another technique of Challah, I can say you can do 6 brace, 3, 4, 8, 12. Okay, there's a lot of way to do. Okay, how you need to search, I can say, you go to Google. Okay, you type techniques for Challah, then you actually can see there's a lot way. And some of the photo or YouTube, right, they can actually show you how to do. Okay, in Upcasha online, the Challah, I can say, is one of the way. They still have about 10, 12 techniques to do the braising. So you can see from there and you can start to you say practice, and then you see which one you are prefer. For Upcar, usually we do this design because this one is, I can say, it techniques, okay, it need a bit difficult, and then it looks very, very nice, okay, for the outlook and for the presentation. Okay, I can say this one in the photo one, right, is the most common you can see the halal. Okay, so halal for me, okay, usually if for me to remember this thing, this bread, this thing, I will call it like a upgrade version of milk bread. Okay, because milk bread is still so some of the milk bread they will braise it also, and flavor wise, they're almost similar. Okay, they're almost similar. So I call it as an upgrade version of milk bread. This is the way I remember it. Okay. So Challah, you don't think it, oh, it's from another is from which country? Actually is from Eastern Europe. Okay. And then origin, okay, which means which cuisine that bring in this one is actually Jewish. Okay. Then nowadays a lot of Challah they are using a sponge pre-ferment, which is the one that you see from the video Akash online. Okay, it's using a sponge pre-ferment. So that is giving them the extra flavor and also the strength for brewing. Okay. So next one, chocolate apricot. Any question for chocolate apricot? No question. Okay, open ventilation and close. Okay. This wood actually there are a lot of ways to mention it. Some they call open ventilation, some they call vent in, vent out, some they call trigger in, trigger out. Okay, so basically this thing, right, is usually have in professional oven, like professional deck oven and professional uh combi oven. It is, if you, later you can go and search a deck oven, right? I mean the professional deck oven in the, at the back. Okay, at the back they actually have a small hole, and they can actually open and close by a trigger or by a thing. Okay, that is actually open ventilation and closed ventilation. So for baking bread, for the first baking, which is I mean some of the Akash online video, Chef Angela mentioned, uh, closed ventilation for first 12 minutes and then open ventilation for another 10 minutes. Closed means that the door, I mean the small hole is fully sealed. Okay, is proper sealed and all the moisture or steams or heat is all trapped inside the oven during the baking. So it causes us the bread that coming out cracking, and then they have the nice crust, the crispy thing, the crispy part, and then they have a nice rising during the baking. It's all in a closed ventilation baking process. So after the 12 minutes is done, the baking is right. I mean the bread is nicely rise up, creating a nice crust, everything form, and then you open the ventilation, which means open a small gap at the back and let all the extra moisture, heats, and also another things to remove off. So that the bread is starting to dry out and cook for you. So this is the explanation. I hope I explained to you and you understand. If not clear, then I explain again. Okay. ESK, how long? Oh, okay. This one I will explain at the end because I already have a chat for you all. Okay, for Polish and Biga. What can we replace whole wheat flour? But basically I can say can't. Okay, because whole wheat flour is individual flour. Okay, you cannot say that you need to replace by something else. Okay. Okay, if you don't have ventilations, okay, it's actually very easy. When you're using home oven, you close the door during the baking. Is I call it as a closed ventilation. And then when you want to do an open ventilation, it's very simple also. Take a wooden spoon, okay, open the door, and you put in the wooden spoon to make a gap, so they actually can create the ventilation also. Okay. Christine, can we use open right? Oh, cannot, Christy. You cannot use all-purpose flour to replace it. Okay, because whole wheat flour, one thing, protein is different. Second, they're giving actually different types of flavor. So the best is you can find whole wheat will be better. Okay, you cannot replace by all-purpose flour. You cannot replace by any types of flour, because whole wheat itself, like in basic bread, I explained to you already about the percentage. Whole wheat is actually different percentage compared to all-purpose. Okay, what is the difference between wheat flour and wheat starch? Okay, wheat flour and wheat starch, okay, which is actually wheat flour. Okay, wheat flour is contains starch inside, okay, which is contain the one that you mentioned, which wheat starch. But wheat starch doesn't contain any flour inside. They are just a starch. This one understand? Okay, wheat flour is contain flour, which means when they produce, right, they add flour inside. Then I mean, they, of course, they will add some flour inside and then add some also combination. But wheat starch, right, it doesn't contain any flour. It's just a starch itself. Okay, it's just the starch itself. When I mean, when they process, and not the same. I can say, okay, one is contained, one have flour, one have without, one is only starch. But they're actually coming from the same source of base. Okay, they are coming from the same base. It's just different process. Okay, so they are coming out different way. Okay. So come back to chocolate apricot. Okay, they are using a pre-ferment. So for those who are not sure pre-ferment, what is it? Later I will explain to you all. Then flavorful, because again, for this bread, why is flavorful? Because one, they have pre-ferment, which is giving them not just the power, not just the energy moving or the dough, it's also giving them flavor. Second, you have the main two flavor, which is chocolate and apricot. So this bread is quite flavorful and it tastes, I can say it tastes rich. Okay, so this is the difference between other bread. Next one, cottage cook, or we call cottage bread. Any question? Okay, no question. So I recap. So for this one, okay, cottage bread. First thing first, you guys need to really focus, okay, to or control is this size, okay, the portion of the top and the bottom, okay, need to be controlled nicely. If not, it doesn't look like the cottage, okay. Then cottage is actually original from England, okay, and it's I can say it's a very traditional bread. It's already been invented out long time ago. And of course, they have many versions, but in Apka, we are using Biga as the preferment. Okay, in Apka, we're using preferment. Sorry, Biga as the preferment. They also have another type of recipe using different way. So don't confuse yourself. Don't say that. So this is the only way for Biga. No, they have many thousand, maybe 100 way to do a dish, 1,000 of recipe, but technique is the same. Okay, need to control the portion. Okay, then for baking, same ventilation and steam baking. Already explained to you guys how you need to do when you don't have the steam function in your oven. Okay. Okay, next one we call crown of Bordeaux. So it's a kind of artisan bread. Okay, it's a kind of artisan bread. Then it's actually come out from a name of capital in France. So that's why they call it as crown of Bordeaux. Okay. So it's a very traditional, again, it's very traditional bread product, and you can actually consume it anytime, and it's easy to produce. Only thing is need to control the design. It must be look round, and then must be look exactly the same. Then you can call it as crown. So any question for this one, or you guys did not try for this? In Apka, we are using actually the baguette dough for doing this. Okay. In the traditional recipe, also is similar to a baguette recipe, the basic baguette to do this design. So any question? No question? Okay. Okay, we go for forecast with bullish. Okay, forecast with bullish. Any question for forecast with bullish? Any question for forecast with bullish? Christy, which one you have mentioned? The forecast or the crown? Okay, so yes, we have another flattened dome, okay, to cover it. So basically, go back to this photo first. Basically, first thing you need to portion out is the amount of the round one. Okay. After that, you rounding it. Then you keep aside, or we call bench rest. Then you do one shaping, not one shaping. Like you portion out one portion for this the top one, the flattened part. After that, for me, I recommend that you keep inside the freezer. Okay, let the dough get slightly harder, so it's easy for you to roll it down, and also maintain the design round as well. So it's easy for you to do the final shaping. So basically is I can say it's like two sets. One set is the round one pieces, another set which is the flattened one. Okay. So for podcast, any question you guys want to ask? No? Okay, so I just do a recap. So forecast be bullish. Okay. Forecast, when once you put the name of forecast, right, usually automatically you need to think out of this design. Okay, or the one that you show inside the video. Okay, it will be look like a leaf design. Okay, a leaf design. And then just for your information, when you're doing a forecast, okay, using the same recipe, you actually can do it for the ciabatta also. So ciabatta and focaccia, they are using the same dough. Okay, but you create out different design, you can call it different name, focaccia and ciabatta. Okay, so we go for next one, Genzano. Any question for the Genzano? Any question for the Genzano? Okay, then I just do a recap. Genzano, okay, the design should look slightly flat and not too fat. Okay, this is the traditional design for the Genzano. And then Chef Angelo in the video is showing you another technique for doing the Genzano. So again, they also have different apps or different way to do the shipping part. So you guys can actually do few more practice. Okay, beside this one, you can try. Okay, so uh, if you feel anything which not sure, right, you can actually just look back at the video. They can actually show you. Asha and Joe will actually show you there. Okay. So far, I haven't seen any other vegetables beside potato. Okay, or Genzano, you can should just do a plain version. Okay, I mean without any filling, but just do a plain version. After bake, you just slide and you eat with other things. Okay, eat with another topping or filling. Okay, but if you bake with it, so far I only seen potato. I haven't seen another vegetable. Yeah. Any other question? No? Okay, we go for next one. Okay, multigrain bloomer. Any question for multigrain bloomer? Anything you guys want to ask about multigrain bloomer? No? Okay. So I do a recap. So Multigrain Bloomer, not just this design, you have many ways to do again. So I can give you few suggestion or idea. You guys or some when you do, or I mean some of you when you do break at home, right? Or maybe you see another video, or you have some video of not some video, some photo. They have actually one basket, okay, for proving the bread one, right? You actually can do for this kind of design also. That kind of mold is actually have a very good advantage, which is help you to hold the design really well, and it's easy for you to transfer before go for baking. So when you use that kind of mold, the first thing you need to be careful is need to dust enough flour inside the mold when you go for the proving. If not, right, when you want to remove it, it always the top, I mean the surface, right, they always stick with the basket. So at the end, it came out will be collapsed because you're using the force to remove it. It will collapse very easily. So this is a thing you guys must take care when using those baskets. Okay. Next one, pan francais. No question for pan francais. Okay, so recap. Pan francais is actually Italian version of baguette. Okay, it's because you see the photo, okay, you feel that it's like a baguette. So don't confuse yourself. It's actually a Italian version. Okay, so they're using the biga as a preferment. So you look back to the first one, which is the baguette biga, you feel that actually is similar. Okay, but how we differentiate it is by the design and also the way of baking. You can see this one is straight, the baguette, the French style is slightly darker, golden color. But once you come to the pan francais, you will see that it's slightly lighter color, okay, then have more contrast. Okay, so this is how we differentiate it. So this one is you guys near, I mean, the starting you guys asked me about how long you can keep for the foolish, all these things, right? So foolish, okay, is maximum can go for 10 to 13 hours. Okay, this is the, I mean, the shelf life for it. Then foolish is suitable to go for any hydration bread. And then that one advantage is easy to mix. Okay, because of the water percentage and the flour is one part. So that's why it's easy to mix, and it can go for any types of hydration bread. So this is the thing you guys need to make sure you can only keep for 10 to 13 hours maximum. So when you guys need to do your bread with foolish, need to schedule your time nicely. Okay. Then they have one more sponge preferment, which is the one they use for Challah. Okay, it's medium hydration, 70 to 75% only. Then shelf life 12 to 16 hours. Okay, shelf life 12 to 16 hours. This shelf life that I mentioned, right, is I mean after 10 hours only you're allowed to use for foolish. Then for sponge after 12 hours only you use will have a better result. Over the time of 16 hours they will be getting more acidic and also the alcohol taste. Okay, then pica is a stiff dough. Okay, it's good for sweet dough. Then shelf life 12 to 16 hours. Then in these three, the hardest to mix is the Biga, okay, because of the water percentage is slightly lower. So right now I can see you see the chat. Okay, so 4 types. Okay, Polish, Biga, sponge, and pre-fermented, or they call Odo. This I put inside, even though we don't use, because I believe for you guys as home baker, some of you might do bread before, have some experience, and then you guys for sure have some recipe book. Sometimes those recipe they mention Odo inside. So I put inside here to explain for you guys. Okay. So flour is always 100%, 100, 100, 100, 100. And for Polish, because of 1 part water, 1 part flour, so that's why water will be 100. Yeast, they only contain 0.1% overall. Okay. Then origin is from France. Then Biga, 100%. Water content back to 60%. So that's why it's a bit harder to mix. Then yeast content very less, 0.1%. Then origin is from Italy. Okay. And for sponge pre-fermented, okay, 100% for flour. Water percentage 65% to 70%. That is for sponge pre-fermented. And for yeast content, they only cost you 0.1% inside the sponge pre-fermented. Then USA and Canada, this is not the place that is invent out this sponge pre-fermented. USA and Canada is the most how to say, it's a country that use a lot of sponge pre-fermented. Okay, that's why I put inside here. Okay, they are not the one who invent out, but they use the most compared to another country. Okay, then for Bordeaux or part ferment, 100%, water percentage 60%, then yeast content 0.8%. So I'll explain. I hope you guys can understand, which is although you can think a way of baguette, okay, a baguette, which is the basic baguette because they only have 4 ingredients: water, flour, yeast, and salt. So you think the old dough like a baguette, you mix everything, same, you keep overnight. How long to keep? I can say 10 to 12 hours maximum. Then you can divide and use exactly the same like how these few types or how Chef Angelo show you inside the video. Okay, so any advantage for using old dough? I can say advantage is only if you use for production, okay, because you can mix 1 big batch of old dough and then you use for every recipe. Okay, so these are the advantage. Okay, but beside that, using Polish, Biga, sponge, they have also different type of advantage. They give you different types of flavor and also different types of strength. So that's why they have individual products will use. I hope I answer you all the questions and I hope you all understand. After explaining everything, anything you guys not sure, you can ask me. I can just repeat again. Okay. In general, is there any way to judge? Okay. First, okay, I mean for me, okay. First I will actually look at the photo, okay, of the product. Okay, which is the photo, is it look tight or is it look fat? And then is it look tight? And then how it should be. Second, I will see from the recipe or the characteristic of the recipe. Example, we bring out chapati. I believe you all eat ciabatta before and you do ciabatta before, right? Everyone will think, oh, ciabatta, it will be a very, very liquid dough. So by the time we mix this ciabatta dough, you feel that, why this time my dough is slightly stiff and it's not much hydration. So you can actually adjust. Maybe I put a bit more water. Or then after adjusting everything, your dough is getting well and getting good result. Then we go for the shaping. So how you know your shaping is need to be tight or what? first, again, check the photo. Okay, for ciabatta, you know that it should be look long and it should be look like a square box, not square box, rectangular size. So you need to control how to portion it, and then uh, how to do a perfect shaping. And then from that, every time you do, you need to improve yourself. Okay, this is how I do. Okay, first I check the product picture, recipe, how it should look like, water percentage, the dough texture, it should be right. Then from there, you change and you improve yourself, you adjust yourself. Okay. How to judge if proving is successful? Okay, this one I'll show you. Wait a moment. So this example, this is your dough, right? Okay, when you press, okay, usually you do pressing, right, for checking the bread. So example, this is the bread, you check, so you touch, it goes down, right? So once your finger lift up from the dough, it should be slowly goes back up to the surface, I mean the original place. But that place that you press, they still can see the hole, okay? But it should not be going in, and also it should not be going up back to the original place. If it going back to the original place, which means your bread is overproof. So what you cannot do anything, you can actually just go for baking right away. But if it's underproof, okay, which means that does not bounce back a lot, then you actually can continue proof for another 10 to 12 minutes. Okay, this is the way. And is this explanation helps you? Okay. So, again, yeah. Okay. Example, this is your bread. Okay, example, this is your bread. Okay. For checking, you all usually will test, right? You press it. Okay. So for the filling part, okay, you should feel the bread is full of, right? Full of air. Okay, it's airy. So which means ready. This is the first, which is the filling part. Second, when I mean the vision, okay, is you press, okay, then your finger move out, and then it should slowly goes back up. Then the part that you press, it should have one hole. Okay, it's like a what's that called, intention. Okay, then which means it's ready. Then if you press, it bounce back immediately and goes back to the original picture, which means all proof. You can't do anything. You can just bake directly or immediately. Then if you press, it does not bounce back a lot and it still left a big hole over there, which means your bread is underproof. So you can actually proof for another 10 to 20 minutes or further. Then you continue to check the stage. When it's ready, you can just go for baking. Of course, by this explanation, you might feel very difficult to get it or to understand it. So the only thing I can say to you is you need to keep practicing. Okay, keep practicing again and again and again. Okay, so keep remember the picture that you do this time, but the proving, and tomorrow or next week you try again, then you see what is the difference. Okay, what I can help you to explain the proving is just like that. But at the end is need to practice. Okay. Beside that, any questions you guys want to ask? No? Okay, so I hope this session helped you guys a lot of things. And after this, then you guys can try again for baking all the breads. And then that's all for me, on my side. So thank you very much, and see you.